Hi darlings, I know it's been a minute since I've done a freebie tutorial for YouTube, so my apologies, but I've been so busy with everything. But I'm gonna try and get on a better schedule so that I can bring at least one tutorial, if not two a month to you guys via the YouTube channel so you guys have something to do. So today I'm gonna be doing the drop crotch paper bag pants that I made and posted on the blog. I think it was in November, and I promised a tutorial, so I am fulfilling that promise. And I'm going to show you guys how to make it. It's super easy, nothing super complicated, and we're going to go over basically all the tools that you need. Then we're going to draft the pattern from some leggings, and then we're going to cut and sew. Okay, so you're going to need some paper. You can use either freezer paper or old gift wrapping paper or craft roll paper. Anything that you can find that is big enough for you to draft on is perfectly good. You're going to need either a marker or a pencil so we can draft our pattern. You're going to need some scissors. So I have my Fiskars scissors that I use for cutting paper, and then I have my Fiskars scissors that I'm going to use for cutting my fabric. You don't want to mix your scissors. And then I also have a rotary cutter in case you're using a rotary cutter. That's a really great option as well to cut your fabric. And then a cutting mat, which you will need if you are using a rotary cutter. Then you're going to need, of course, a pair of leggings, and then you're going to need whatever fabric you're going to be using. Now you can do this out of any fabric. You can make it out of a knit fabric, or you can make it out of a woven fabric. This is a lightweight tencel fabric, so that's what I'm going to be using for this tutorial. Any cotton weight fabric will work. Okay, so I have my leggings, and I'm going to fold them in half. And this side of our legging is actually going to be cut on the fold. So just lay your leggings flat and folded. And what we're going to do is we're going to be measuring up from the waist. So take your tape measure. And from the highest part of your waistband, right, this is probably the back of the waistband if you folded with the wrong sides facing each other, meaning the back of your leggings. You're going to measure up from the highest point 8 inches. And I want you to make a little line or a little dot there. And then I want you to measure out 6 inches from your leggings, right? So I'm going to measure out 6 inches, and I'm going to make another little line. And then from your crotch, I want you to measure down 10 inches. And I'm going to make another little dot. Now I want you to take your ruler, and we're going to make a straight line down the side of our pant. And I'm going to start where my 8 inches, at the top where the 8 inches that we added starts, and then we're going to make a straight line all the way down the side of our pant. And then we're going to come out till we reach our 6 inches that we added along this line here, right? Because we went up 8 inches, and we're going to make a straight line. And then we're going to make another straight line until we reach here. And then we're going to make that same line all the way down until we reach that 10 inches that we measured down. But you're working in a straight line. This is what your pattern should look like now, right? We added 8 inches at the top. We measured 6 inches across. We made a straight line down the side of our legging because this is going to be cut on the fold. And now we're going to work on the bottom portion, our curve and our leg. Okay, now I'm going to add 4 inches to the bottom of my pant because I want a little cuff, or I want to be able to at least roll up my pant leg. So I'm going to add 4 inches, and I'm going to make a straight line, and then I'll connect it to my side. And now we're going to measure out from our pant leg 3.5 inches. So remember, this is our 10-inch mark, right, down from the crotch. So at that point, I want to measure out from my pant leg 3.5 inches, and I'm going to make a dot, and then I'm going to do that along my pant leg. 3.5 inches, And now we're going to connect our dots and then create the curve. So if you have a French curve ruler, you can place it so that it connects to one of the first dots like that, and then use your ruler to connect the rest of the dots. You can remove your leggings. And this is what your pattern looks like. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna label it so that we don't forget. And I'm gonna make my little fold lines. So cut on fold, and we're gonna cut 2. And we're gonna cut them on the fold. Okay, now we're gonna draw our fold lines onto the top because this is gonna create the paper bag waist. So we're going to make a line that's 3.5 inches down from the top. Okay, so I want you to measure down 3.5 inches, and you're gonna make a line. I'll do a marker so you guys can see. Okay, that's gonna be our fold line. So this is gonna fold down. And then from the top, I want you to measure 1/2 inch. And I want you to make another line. That's gonna be a stitching line. And then from there, I want you to do 1 inch. And then you're gonna make another stitching line. This is gonna create the casing for our elastic, okay? So these are stitching lines. This is your fold line. So write fold, and this is stitching. Now you can go ahead and using your Fisker scissors for paper, go ahead and cut around your pattern. Okay, so I have my fabric folded in half the long way, right? So selvage edges are meeting. And I placed my pattern piece right on the folded edge of my fabric, and we're gonna cut across the top, down, and then through the curve and across the bottom of our leg. And you're gonna do that twice. I'm gonna show you one on camera, and then you can cut your other pant leg the same way. So you can use scissors or you can use a rotary cutter if you have it. Okay, once you have your first one cut out on the fold, right? See, you have one cut out on the fold. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna cut out a second one. Okay, I went ahead and I transferred my stitching and my fold lines to my fabric, so you can barely see it, but I measured down 1/2 inch on my pant, made my line, then another inch, and then I made another line, and then of course I transferred my folding line. And remember, you have to open up your pant leg and do it across the entire top. So you're gonna do this to both pant legs along the waistline. You're gonna make sure to transfer your stitching and your fold lines. Okay, so each one of these is a front and back leg, right? So this is one leg, and then this is the other leg. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open this up like this, and then I want you to lay your other pant leg over the top, also open, right sides facing. And we're gonna pin from the top down to the crotch, and then we're going to pin the other side the same way, from the top down to the crotch. You're gonna pin both sides the same way, go to your sewing machine and stitch from the top down to the crotch using a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and if you wanna finish your raw edge, you can. Okay, so we have gone ahead and sewed from the top down to our crotch, and I went ahead and serged my edge, so I finished the inside of my seam allowances. And then we did both sides, and I want you to go ahead and press your seams to one side, so I've already pressed mine. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to open this back up, right? So that our seams match. And now we have the leg opening and our crotch. So now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pin and you're going to sew. You're going to pin all the way around, and what you're going to do is you're going to start on one side, you're going to sew all the way down using 1/2 inch seam allowance, And then you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to start back in the middle and then go down the other pant leg, also using 1/2 inch seam allowances. And then also finish your seam allowance with a serge or a zigzag stitch the same way we did earlier. Okay, so now we have sewn around our pant leg and the crotch, and I serged my seam allowance. And I want you to go ahead and serge or finish the top of your waist. If you have a serger, fine. If you're not, if you don't have a serger, you can zigzag it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to press under the 3.5 inches that we marked off. So you should have that fold line. So I want you to fold along your fold line and then go to your ironing table and press this all the way around. Okay, so I went ahead and pressed along my fold line, right? So this should be measuring 3.5 inches, and I did it all the way around. I'm just going to place a couple of pins just to keep this together. And now we're going to go to the sewing machine. I'm actually going to show you this just so there is no confusion. And now you should have a stitching line that measures 1/2 inch from the edge of your fabric. So you're going to sew all the way around following that stitching line that you have. And we're going to leave a 1 inch opening on one of the seams so that we can insert our elastic. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and following your stitching line, you're going to stitch all the way around. But before we reach where we started, we're going to leave about a 1 inch opening. Okay, back stitch. And now while at the machine, we're going to move up to that second stitching line that we have, right? We have a 1 inch difference here, and we're going to stitch all the way around, but we're not going to leave an opening. Okay, so go ahead and grab your 3/4 inch elastic. You're going to measure this around your waist, and then you're going to minus 1 inch. And then cut it and use your safety pin to put through one end, and then we're going to go ahead and put it through our opening. And you're going to sift this through all the way until it comes out the other end. Make sure you don't lose that other end inside, so when you start getting close, I'm going to have you pin. So I'm going to kind of just put a pin through all the layers, including my elastic, so it doesn't go in through that hole. Pull through, and now I want you to put it through both ends and also through your fabric. And then I want you to pull and adjust, and I want you to try it on. If you need to make your elastic tighter, then just cut off a little piece, however much you need to, until it fits just right. Once you try it on and it fits, then you can go ahead and unpin your elastic from your fabric, and then you can go ahead and pull it, and you're going to lay them over the top of each other like this. You're going to overlap 5/8 inch, and then you're going to stitch through both of your elastic to join them together, and then we're going to close our opening. Okay, so I overlapped my elastic, and I'm just going to sew and back stitch a couple of times. And then go ahead and adjust your waist by pulling it. And then we're going to close our opening. So working on the right side, I want you to put your needle in exactly where your stitching is. And we're going to back stitch. And then you're going to sew. And when you reach the stitching, go ahead and pass it by a couple of stitches and then backstitch. Okay, once you've closed your opening, then the only thing that was left to do is the hem. So I went ahead and did it. So what you're gonna do is you're going to finish the raw edge, either with a serger or a zigzag, and then I turned under 1 inch, and then I stitched all the way around. That's how I did both. I'm just gonna roll mine up probably, sort of something like this. And you can decide to do however wide you want your hem to be. I just wanted a 1 inch hem because I'm gonna do a roll up like I mentioned. And that's all there is to it. You're all done with your drop crotch pants. All right, that's all there is to it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember, you can see the fully styled look on my blog, mimigstyle.com. The link is in the description box below. And of course, if you make them and post them, make sure and tag me on Instagram at mimigstyle. Until next time, peace.